From Bill Clinton to Steve Smith, we have seen some epic apologies over the years, but some people need to work on their skills for saying sorry. Recently, Kerry Ann sat down with Sir Cliff Richard about those police raids on his home and heard how the BBC hadn't properly said sorry to him for broadcasting all of his details.
I still am waiting for an apology. The only apology I heard was ruined by one word, but.
We have thought long and hard about how we covered this story, and in retrospect, there are things we would do differently. But it's important to note that the judge ruled that everything we broadcast about the search was accurate.
But we think we did the right thing. That sort of comment negates the apology completely.
Yeah, it wasn't much of an apology, was it? Sir Cliff has since settled with the BBC, but how can you spot a fake apology and what can couples learn? We are joined again by psychotherapist and counsellor Melissa Ferrari. It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
Now, are ifs, buts and maybes a big problem when someone's making an apology?
What we're doing all the time, we're scanning the environment for safety and security when it comes to relationships. And so there's that little part of the brain, which is the amygdala, and it'll immediately pick up if something doesn't feel safe. So if we hear an if or a but and something that kind of counteracts someone that's saying sorry, we're instantly going to go into a fight-flight kind of response, and it's probably not going to end well.
So I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have.
Yeah, we can read
your
it.
Mistake.
That's right. We can see it straight away, you know. That's not genuine, doesn't feel okay to me, and that's why these things don't end well
I'm sorry,
often.
but I'm not sure if I agree with you, Melissa. Someone who has just recently made a very, very public apology is Alan Jones, and of course it's not the first one. He apologised for saying at a dinner that Julia Gillard's father had died of shame. We've got a 10 News report on his apology after that comment.
He's paid well to be controversial, but Alan Jones admits he's pushed it too far this time.
You just have to concede and man up and say, you got it wrong.
Jones's apology press conference went for 45 minutes, but the word sorry didn't feature.
I owe her an apology, and I hope I'll be able to make that to her, not to her through you.
Now, he said, I owe her an apology, which I thought was pretty reasonable, but he didn't say the actual word sorry. Is there a difference between saying, I should apologise, and actually saying, I'm sorry?
Well, I think what's important is the receiver, you know. If you're really sitting with someone who's really accountable and genuinely are looking into your eye to see that you've received the sorry, you know, to really check, did you hear my sorry? In that case, it kind of looked like a press thing, and it was talking about saying sorry, but we didn't hear the sorry, and I hope later that he did do what he said he was going to do.
Just on that note, though, because we are living in an era of outrage and scandal and people being hung out to dry, is the whole point, he's not really doing it for Julia Gillard there, though, is he? He's doing it to placate an angry mob, be it a social media mob or press or people who have heard the comments secondhand and are demanding some active contrition. So what happens when a public figure is apologising to the public rather than the person they've supposedly offended? Isn't it? There's two different things going on, kind of, aren't there?
There is. There's a bit of an incongruence there because the person isn't there, and so you're not actively able to see, gee, they've received it. They've really felt that sorry. It's changed their internal of feeling bad or not feeling good or feeling angry. We need to see that to really know that it's a genuine sorry. So I think something like that does get orchestrated, it does miss the opportunity to really see the repair, because it's the repair that's important.
I'm sorry, but your fake apology wasn't sincere enough.
Donald Trump apologised when he was caught out on tape. Do you remember? They're making the lewd comments about women. Let's have a listen to him.
I've said some foolish things, but there's a big difference between the words and actions of other people. Bill Clinton has actually abused women, and Hillary has bullied, attacked, shamed, and intimidated his victims.
So he apologises, but he says the others are worse. Does that count?
Well, that's a bit of a tactical manoeuvre, I think. You know, it's deflection. Whether he's conscious of it or not, I'm not sure. But it is a deflection of if we focus over here, well, then I don't have to be accountable. The biggest thing of a sorry is real accountability, respect of I can see what I've done and I want to make it right. And so that was really what I would call a classic deflection, and we all do it. And it's a defensive kind of thing.
You did have a point about Bill, though.
And Hillary. Cricketer Steve Smith, well, golly, tearing up. That apology, I saw it live, and it was gut-wrenching about the ball tampering incident. And, of course, he has redeemed himself in the eyes of all cricketing Australians by what he's done. Have a look at this.
Make up for my mistake and the damage it's caused.
So this... you know, I found this gut-wrenching. Did I get sucked in, or do you believe it's real?
When I watched that, I think that it was very, very real. The one thing that's missing there is, though, because he's reading it, it's missing a little bit of spontaneity. And I think spontaneity is where you're really able to see when someone goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you can see that reaction. But in terms of him being emotional, I think it's genuinely quite heart-wrenching. But I would think it would have been better if he wasn't reading it off a script.
But again, I think this comes down to what we were talking about before. This is actually a public sort of exhibition. It's not a real apology. It's not you saying to your wife or to your loved one or your friend, say, "I'm really sorry about that." It's actually saying, "All right, I'm here to do this sort of tap dance for you to show how contrite I am." And then his real remorse actually sort of overtakes him and creeps into what should be a staged public event.
It did, and I think that that's what made it very authentic.
Yeah. You've got some great tips for couples. Let's run through them. Don't wait to be caught. Fess up early. Take responsibility for what you've done. Know what you are sorry for.
Okay, I'm out.
Be personal and say it more than once. And those old lines of "I'm sorry if you were offended," that type of thing. That's a bit of a cop out, isn't it?
That is very much a cop out, and that's not really saying that internally I feel a bit sorry, or I even feel a little bit of shame for what I've done. When you can really see that in your partner, it's an opportunity for genuine repair. So take that moment up and really say that genuine sorry, and check that they've received it. That's what we do wrong. We don't sort of sit there and say, am I really reading that you understand I'm genuinely sorry for what I've done, and see the remorse and then see the acceptance of the apology.
I'm sorry, Melissa, we've run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. Melissa Ferrari, great advice. Thanks for joining us.
You weren't genuine.
I was too.
Oh, OK, sorry.
That was very clever.
I'm the queen of the ugly cry. Hey, coming up, how about
You want to know
pizza?
How
about pizza for brekkie? It is possible, and apparently it's very good for you as well. We will find out how to make it after we check the news. That's next.
Paul and Therese are about to